I famous yet? Podcast has been on for 10 seconds. I guess not. I don't want to be famous. Maybe just a little bit famous. Let's dive right into it. I have a fitness conundrum. Squatting. Most people squat. If you're a human and you can move, you are squatting in some form or another. Here's my scenario. 2 social media influencers. Influencer A, influencer B. Very creative. Influencer A has 5 million followers, let's say. Influencer B also has exactly 5 million followers. They like to imbibe on the influence, if you catch my drift. Influencer A is making a really dedicated argument for not squatting below parallel. They're saying squatting below parallel, horrible for your knees and your back and everything, and it's terrible. Influencer B is arguing the exact opposite. They're saying squatting below parallel couldn't be healthier for you. Interesting. What are we going to do? We're going to find some sources. Give me a source. Whew. Influencer A, give me your sources. I combed through some comments. Combing. Here we go. Yes. Okay. We have, 30 different peer-reviewed studies. All right, let's see here. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Sample sizes are massive on all of them. Okay. Oh, the findings are statistically significant. Wow. The conclusion says right here, squatting below parallel is akin to death. Kind of a bummer to find that out, but I guess it's right in here. Well, I should probably, just to make sure, check on influencer B, see if they have any sources. They can't. The proof is all here. But let's check. Oh, influencer B providing some sources. Oh, wait. 30 peer-reviewed articles. These must be all full of doo-doo. Let's have a look. Oh, sample sizes are the same. Also statistically significant. Oh my God. Yeah. Squatting below parallel is healthy for you. And this fits my narrative so much better. Thank goodness. So, what do we have? 2 individuals with huge influence, millions of followers each. Oh, those cancel out. Darn. Both have dozens of peer-reviewed evidence supporting their positions. I guess we're just going to do some dimensional analysis and cancel those out too. And we're left with a lot of uncertainty. What is it? Is squatting below parallel bad for my health or not? I don't know. I have a little story about myself. Shocker. My grad school supervisor was fantastic. And one of the classes we took with him was once a week, 3 hours each week, I believe. And he would walk in. It was kind of like a movie, the way he was never late, but I think he'd be within the minute, and he would be very upset if you weren't early. So, and I think he did this for dramatic effect. Totally speculating, but So he'd come in seconds late, walk in, stroll in, throw a thick stack of papers on the table, say, "Here you go, assholes, read these." And the 6 or so of us that were at the table would get to work. It would be a bunch of peer-reviewed articles of various things. Didn't really matter. The whole point was we were kind of analyzing the content, the jargon, some of the flow. We'd do a lot of abstracts, and we'd skip ahead to the conclusions a lot of times. And the overwhelming response to pretty much every study was, there is evidence to suggest that this is statistically significant, but more research is needed to make this conclusive. And it would just be 1, 2, 3, 4, hundreds. We probably got through hundreds in that class of every conclusion spitting out the exact same thing. Another thing that was really interesting about those studies was when you'd dig in a little bit and find out who funded those studies. Has anybody heard that money might influence the answers a little bit? Sway them one way or the other? I don't know. Maybe. But that class had the wheels turning in my head. Light bulbs were kind of going off too. And I was very young at this point. I had some fear of being radicalized, becoming anti peer review, and not that he was, but it was just becoming really aware of what was out there and what to look for. So let's integrate the influencer's story that I made up with my supervisor telling us about what to be aware of when we're looking at peer review. I might be skimming through some comments on real posts, and there'll be a lot of excuse me, I need a source for that. Can someone give me a source? I'm gonna need a source. Give me a source! People are so up in arms about needing their peer-reviewed sources in order for any post that anybody makes to be legitimate. Light bulbs going off in my head, even to this day. I'm thinking about it. You're so dedicated to the concept of a source for legitimacy. I have another made-up study to illustrate my point and be really hyperbolic about it, but it's fun. Let's say I hand you another study and I say, hey, did you hear that smoking meth actually makes you huge? Yes, thank you for the study. Crystal meth increases the size of your biceps by 600%. Fascinating. A little hard to believe. Let me have a look-see at who funded this study. Study and resources provided by Crystal Meth Industries, Drug Lords of America. Finding a source or even multiple sources is not necessarily a biblical monolithic event, okay? But is there something other than a source? One of the other main branches of gathering information are mentors. Most people have them in their jobs, regardless of what you do. Mine have been terrific, and the only drawback is that almost always they are so busy doing their jobs that they're actually not widely spreading their knowledge. They're too immersed in their work to be on social media making crazy posts. But this can still be dangerous. Blindly following the words of 1 to 5 mentors you've had over the years. My arms are a funnel. This is you falling into that funnel. Narrow, 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 narrow. And now you're kind of stuck. Funneled into a pretty limited pool of knowledge. Arguably. We have sources. We have mentors. Both seem pretty volatile. But now I'm coming across like a bridge troll denying anyone access to knowledge. So, who am I? Who's this guy? This just in. I'm a regular dude with a big mullet. By the way, if you're only listening on audio, I would argue that you're missing out because I've got a huge mullet. Okay, very serious. No more jokes. I have another story. And it's about me. I know what you're thinking. Oh my goodness, here he goes. Talking about himself for the second time in 10 or so minutes. Well, I have a little asterisk here that's really important that I want to share with everybody. It says right here, it says, this is my podcast, and I will take liberties to talk about myself whenever I want. So we're going to flash back even further. The very beginning of me becoming a personal trainer. I'm 18. I'm walking on campus. No real direction in life. And I walk by a cork board, and it has the little cut up tabs. And the thing, I don't know why it grabbed my eye. I never thought about this. It says, hey, you, do you want to be a personal trainer? What? Me? A world-class athlete? No, he isn't. Why, of course. I would love to be a personal trainer. So I rippity doo dah that thing right off the cork, sign up, ready to go. So, prep course, couple nights a week. Most of us in there are fresh spring chickens. There's one guy, though. Let's call him Ryan. And I'm not saying that for like the legality of I can't disclose his name. It's because I really can't remember his name. Doesn't matter. Ryan is clearly a step above the rest of us. He's been doing stuff in the space for a while. He just never made it official by getting certified. But technically, very knowledgeable. He had the answers. He was, I guess, doing it on overkill so he could for sure pass the test to get certified. And that time comes, we all take our test. Pretty much everybody in that class passes their test. And now we're on campus at the University Rec Center, kind of springboarding the program for personal training. The gym was new, so there's no real traction for anything in terms of personal training. The first month or so goes by and things are a little quiet on the home front. You know, we're trailblazing. We're trying to figure out for the very first time how to make sales. And wouldn't you know it, a few months goes by, we start making some sales. Everybody has a couple clients. Then a few of us start getting more and more busy. And a year or so goes by, and I'm about as busy as I could possibly be. School, training, dealing with life, I was almost overwhelmed at 19 years old at this point. And I couldn't help but notice Ryan. He was still kind of just training one person. And I was flabbergasted, just completely bushwhacked, buddy. He was so much smarter than all the rest of us. He was charismatic. He was funny. He was so nice. He was actually one of those people where you just know they're in that extra high tier of being really compassionate and caring. So I'm saying, what gives here? This guy is so good at this job and nobody wants to train with him. But he was pretty overweight. That reality hit me like a freight train. And I got really fixated on that. You can't be successful as a trainer if you don't look the part. And so it was. I spent almost a decade, roughly a decade, putting my body through hell. And there were not very many stints during that period where I was sleeping well, recovering correctly, or eating quality food. So this is my impression of me every day for that almost whole span. This is me lying in bed. All right, my alarm goes off. The literal instant I started to move, pain, achiness everywhere. 7 days a week, 365 a year, 525,600 minutes. But it didn't matter because I had to look the part. So I continued, trudged along, hurting. But there was a catalyst. I broke my tailbone in kind of a little bit of a freak collision. And I had no choice but to take a step back from the lifting and the going fast. So my only choice really is to figure out how to heal myself. And all I had done over that decade was create tons of imbalances, tightness, aches and pains are not normal. And stepping back away from that ego, the fixation, was really difficult. But so much changed when I did that. So much. It really did. It felt very much like one of those cliche clouds opening up sort of moments. And it wasn't instantaneous. It took some time. But I was able to do my job so much better because I was in so much less pain. And it seems very obvious and simple. But the issue is that I was not being honest with myself. I was not taking a step back and self-reflecting. I could not let go of the ego. And the new truth I knew was that I don't have to be the most ripped person in the gym to do my best work. So here we go. This idea applies to everything. I think every high school class teaches about ego and psychology. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but what I am going to go into is a little bit of the weeds on how much we will cover things up and we'll pretend like we're being honest with ourselves, but we're not. Sources and mentors aren't always altruistic, but being brutally honest with yourself is almost always going to be that. Coming to grips with who you are and coming to terms with the poor decisions that you continue to make is how you really jumpstart progress. So if you find yourself scrolling through your phone and seeing trite platitudes over and over again, be your best every day. Let go of the hate. It's too heavy. And not actually getting any better from scrolling through those, it's time to make a change. And I'm speaking to a camera. I'm speaking to an iPhone 13 that is funny. It kind of looks like a face when it's turned sideways. Like it looks like. So I don't know who I'm speaking to. Maybe you're perfect. Maybe you think you're perfect and you haven't really analyzed the things that are holding you back. I started analyzing other people that I was training and applying that tool, digging through layers, saying, is there going to be something in this person's life that is similar to the ego and the pride I had about I had to be the most ripped? Maybe. Let's say we have something more severe than a need to be vain and look good. Let's say I'm training someone with severe chronic depression. And I go in to train them one day and they say, oh, I'm really feeling terrible today. I didn't get any sleep last night. And I might respond almost every time by saying, oh, well, did you consume any caffeine kind of late in the day? Oh, well, yeah, of course. I drank a latte at 9 p.m. You what? Do you do that how often? Oh, every day. Maybe let's try not doing that. And the knee-jerk reaction to something like that, it could be really anything. It could be dietary stuff, will be something along the lines of, oh, well, no. Trust me, I've already tried that. I already know that that doesn't affect me. Have you really tried it? Are you sure it doesn't affect you? Did you stop drinking caffeine for 1 to 3 days and then say, oh, don't feel good. I'm going to just pop that back into place. Things take time. If there are well-established things that are causing problems in people's lives and you're not actually making the concerted effort to change that, you can't complain. We're too focused on scientific research. I need a source. We're too focused on following influential people. We're not focused enough on ourselves. My greatest breakthrough was being pretty painfully, brutally honest with how I was living my life. So, who am I?
A magnificent biological specimen not at all affected by the modern world.
My name's Pat Savage, and on behalf of LuxFit San Francisco, welcome to Elixir.